A labyrinth of lanes reveal the Borgo's medieval past, but it's a very different place to when Michelangelo and other great artists were here at the turn of the 15th century and the flowering of the Renaissance age. Now there are more artisans than artists, like furniture maker Massimo Cacinotta. But memories of the past endure.
E come ti ripeto, penso di sì, perché lavoravo qui a San Pietro e avrà fatti sti borghi, avrà fatti. Borgo,
He's a great admirer of the nude, but he's never heard of Michelangelo's naked Christ.
Un Cristo nudo non ho mai sentito, mai visto.
Michelangelo was drawn to Rome by one of the world's greatest building projects, the rebuilding of St. Peter's Basilica. The artist and architect was a papal favourite. The square where Pope Benedict XVI receives pilgrims was then a work in progress. Michelangelo stored huge lumps of marble for his sculptures here. Scholars believe he used one of them to make the missing naked Christ. Michelangelo's dome floods the basilica with light. In a side chapel rests one of the Vatican's greatest treasures, La Pietà. Michelangelo was in his early 20s when he sculpted Jesus Christ after his crucifixion, held by his mother and in this case wrapped modestly in cloth. Michelangelo followed the Greek and Roman artists' fascination with the naked human body. Sculptors in Rome today are equally absorbed.
Sì, penso che è inevitabile per ogni artista che si confronta con la scultura tener presente la genialità di Michelangelo.
Quando io vedo la scultura di Michelangelo posso sentire che lui è riuscito a fare con la materia dura si diventare morbida.
The clue to the missing sculpture is in the church of Santa Maria sopra Minerva in central Rome. This statue of Christ has had a loincloth added. Michelangelo meant it to be nude. He was commissioned to make it for a tomb. Instead, it ended up here by the high altar. But scholars knew that Michelangelo had previously made a first version of this and abandoned it. So what happened to the original? Professor Silvia Danisi Squazzina was among those who rediscovered it.
La statua è più di 2 metri di altezza, compresa la croce, e quando la vidi certo rimasi folgorata. This is the statue of Bassano.
The art historian helped verify the existence of the original naked Christ after she was alerted by one of her students who had spotted the sculpture in an obscure monastery outside of Rome. But proof was needed to say this was the masterpiece missing for 4 centuries. It came in a simple drawing found in the Louvre Museum in Paris.
E questo disegno, eseguito a sanguigna, un bellissimo disegno conservato al Louvre, è sovrapponibile alla mano della statua.
The professor found more proof, documents including Michelangelo's contract that the sculpture must be nude to symbolise humility. The mystery remained. Why had Michelangelo abandoned the first sculpture and why had it disappeared? To find the sculpture, we travelled 2 hours west of Rome to the sleepy town of Bassano Romano. The townsfolk know the sculpture well. It's just that, like everybody else, they didn't know until recently who had made it. And they're divided over its nudity.
Fin da ragazzini le vedevamo sempre. A me sa che mi restava perplesso. La parte bassa che era dentro una chiesa, quello per me era sconcio vedere ha capito che cosa.
Il fatto che sia nudo per me non c'è nessun problema, perché Gesù Cristo è venuto al mondo e non si è scandalizzato mai di niente, anzi non è stato mai né puritano né perbenista.
The trail ends here at the monastery of San Vincenzo Martiri. One of Italy's powerful old families, the Giustianis, built the church in the 1600s and installed the sculpture. 200 years on, their descendants, not knowing of the Michelangelo, donated the building and contents to the priests. Its guardian today is Father Cleto.
Anna Maria, welcome to Bassano and San Vincenzo. And Michelangelo's waiting for you.
When he came to the monastery, he had no idea either that the sculpture on the high altar was a Michelangelo. In the 70s, it was banished to a back room.
Here we are, Anna Maria, and that is the place where the statue had been for 3 centuries.
It was hidden away in the sacristy.
So while this was here in the sacristy, no one could see it?
Nobody could see it because of this wooden door, and being the sacristy, all the sacristies all over the world are closed.
But everything changed a few years ago. Once it was identified, a special chapel was built with high security.
Well, here we are. Get in. Well, there it is, the masterpiece, Michelangelo's best. You can admire him, and you can see the measurements are typically Michelangelo's genius's works. The posture is typically Michelangelo's. It recalls the David in Florence, the Perseus, and the best statues of antiquity.
So nobody knew this was Michelangelo?
Nobody knew then precisely the being of Michelangelo's. The documents actually proved the contrary.
Michelangelo toiled for 2 years from 1514 to 1516. Too late, he discovered the marble wasn't perfect.
But you can imagine, I feel sorry for poor Michelangelo because, as always, he started from the bottom to the top to work on this sculpture.
So it's when he's nearly finished that
when
he makes the discovery?
When he had almost finished, it was at the end, at the last hits practically of the chisel, and then he found out this fault on the marble. He must have said a few words.
Yes, bad words.
Some bad words in between the lines. But anyhow, we forgave him because actually everybody would have felt a bit frustrated. And all
Michelangelo didn't want his Christ to have a blemish. He gave it away in exchange for a horse. And it languished in Rome for a time until it was brought here. Other sculptors worked on it, including the right hand.
You can notice it on the right hand. You can see the fingers so streamlined, so thin, and don't show the nerves and muscles which Michelangelo usually puts in his statues.
But the left hand matches the sketch found in the Louvre exactly.
and the Holy Redeemer is...
The nudity offended the church during the 16th century Counter-Reformation. Artworks were censored and covered up. Now it's accepted once more.
The nude, actually, some people could make their wonders and could express their admiration, but not so much scandalized. We see worse today.
The sculpture has now been confirmed. It stands in all its glory, Michelangelo's Missing Christ.